The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. Prepare, renew, reclaim. And now your host, Allison Jordan.
Hi, got my brain. Good evening, Brain Joes. Brain Joes, Brain Joes, Brain Joes. Good evening to another episode of The Brain Truth. We're at episode, 2.5. See, I don't know when we started doing the twos. I got to ask Dr. Getty. She's our Dr. Lee. She's so smart. What are we in? Is this like, because when we started doing the twos at the new year, I kind of lost track when it became 2.0. But anyway, welcome to The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan on the Brain Truth Radio, an iHeartRadio station. We are also streaming live at YouTube at The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. You can also hear us on Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. We're also on TuneIn and Google. We're everywhere. Hello. So anyway, I just wanted to say something before I introduce this really, really fun show. I had a breakdown today. And this is the beauty because, we do this show every week and, we don't particularly know if we're making a difference until after and people call us and people write in, right? But as a consumer, because remember, I'm just like you. I am a consumer. I'm somebody who's living with mental illness. And every day there's always an opportunity to work on your self-care, right? So I was having a little breakdown today and then, Dr. Gettins, she had to process me as usual. That's the benefit of having a friend, a producer, a co-host that's also an amazing psychiatrist because you get the opportunity to be vulnerable. And so she processed me. Dr. Ivy Hilton, who's part of the Brain Gang, Dr. Sister Jenna, as you know, is one of the leading thought leaders. She processed me. And that is why we do what we do, because they're all available to you, right? We're part of the Brain Truth family and we're part of the Brain Gang. So always go to our website, thebraintruth.com, so that you can have access to these wonderful, incredible beings that can help you and be okay, right? Because it's okay not to be okay. And I was not okay earlier. So anyway, I want to welcome you to today's show because we are so excited because we have what we call our Bitty Brain Gang. They're the little people that's going to come on and take over the Brain Truth today. So I'm going to bring in Dr. Getting so she can help us bring in these little geniuses. And we're going to get this fun day started. Where's my Dr. Gettins? Come on in. Hey, Dr. Gettins. So I know you're tired. You saw Patience and then you saw me as usual. I'm sorry.
You are fine. I love you, Allison. I'm so happy to be here tonight. It's going to be a great show. Excited.
Well, I appreciate you and I love you so much. So let's tell us a little bit about why we're doing the Bitty Brain. Why do we introduce the Bitty Brain Gang?
Well, we introduced the Bitty Brain Gang because we spent a lot of time talking about how so many people don't seek mental health treatment because of stigma. And we use these terms that are derogatory and full of shame. And so we want to start the conversation early. We want to normalize the conversation about health and wellness, and not just mental health, but health in general. And I really think that needs to start in childhood. We need to involve our youth in the conversation. So that's what we want to do tonight to kick that off. And I'm so excited that we've made our little Bitty Brain Gang.
I am so, because, when you hear kids, doesn't it just, we talk about the brain and the happy part of the brain and all that crazy stuff, but just children, when they're asking and they're probing and they want to know and they want to learn, it just reminds us of the vulnerability that we used to have, like before we thought we knew everything. And so I think it's really key that we bring these kids on and ask these questions and really like to get to know like what's really out there. And we start it now, not later, because we don't talk about mental illness. We don't talk about our health and the fact that we're going to show this sort of like vulnerability of our little Bitty Brain Gang. I'm so excited. Okay, so so I get to bring on, yes, I get to bring on Kingston. So Kingston Gettins is a 9-year-old third grader living in the Fort Lauderdale area. He is a great student and an enthusiastic about going to school every day. For real.
He is. He is the first one to go.
In his spare time, he enjoys tennis, boxing, and most of all, cooking. Kingston is known for his love of food and his passion for helping out in the kitchen. He aspires to one day be a celebrity chef. Kingston, come on in here. Where is Kingston? I didn't even know that. I try not to read stuff ahead of time, so I'm like, you know that I went to culinary school. I'm a certified chef. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I am Chef Allie D, honey. I'm what you call a saucier. So like with the doctors, they have specialization. So we go through culinary school learning theory and everything, and then you specialize in something. I'm a saucier, meaning I can make any sauce you like. Oh my God. Welcome to the show, Kingston. How you doing?
I've been doing good.
You look
I'm
very
just really happy to be on
handsome.
the show right now.
You're what now?
I'm happy to be on the show.
We're happy to have you. Yay. Bitty Brain Gang. Bitty Brain Gang. We need to have a theme music or something. Bitty Brain Gang. Okay. All right. Let me keep going. Okay. So next is Sinclair. Your sister, Sinclair Gettings, is 8 years old and joins us from sunny South Florida. Why y'all just got to put sunny South Florida in there? That's just haters. Haters. Okay. Anyway, she is currently in the 2nd grade and doing very well. Sinclair is the youngest of 6 and has 5 older brothers. She loves to draw and is obsessed with art. She also loves music, comedy, movies, and tennis. Oh, wow. I thought she liked basketball too. No? And she is an experienced model and has even modeled for American Girl. Oh, wow, that's big. She is super excited to learn more about women in medicine. Come on in here, Sinclair. Where's my Sinclair? Hey! He's already posing.
You're on mute, Sinclair. You're on mute.
I am
Hi,
interested in basketball too.
Yes, I heard you like basketball too. So you're like a phenom, what we call a phenom, right?
Yeah.
Welcome
and I'm waiting for my basketball, Mom.
Oh, okay. So we just reading people. We just coming out. We just gonna just start checking and reading. Okay. Sinclair, was that a model pose? Do that again. Strike that pose again. Strike a pose. Oh yeah. Strike another pose. Oh. Okay, that's it. Call Itty Bitty Brain Gang. Yes. And I see everybody coming in. Hi, Sandra. We see you. Brain Gangs are watching. Erica Ray. Hi, everybody. Rosalind. Hi. Okay, let's bring in our last Bitty Brain Gang. You have the honors, Dr. Gang.
Yes, I do have the honors of announcing the amazing Zion Sedora Mitchum. So Zion is a 14-year-old freshman at Carl Sandburg High School in Orland Park, Illinois, and she has taken high school by storm. She has successfully maintained a 4.3 GPA due to her honors classes in biology, math, and global issues. She participates in the Black Student Union as well as Student Council. And she is a member of the Sandburg debate team, was a novice, first place winner, and has been selected to go to state as a JV team member. She is also a member of the freshman girls track team. Her interests include singing, dancing, forensic pathology, and Broadway musicals. And she hopes to one day attend Juilliard, NYU, or Hampton University.
Yay! Zion! Wow. I need to re-edit my resume and add all that to mine. I need to rethink my life, start all over. Hi, Zion.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the Brain Truth. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. So
I am too.
Excited.
So everybody, Zion is also my niece. I have to brag about that. She is super smart. All of the kids here are just super smart. And we are just so honored to have you. Like, yes, they are superstars. So you guys are ready to get into it. Okay. So now that we have them on, let's first talk about our sponsors. I'm kicking it to you, Sinclair.
Okay. Wait, do I go now or?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go. Swabs and Swirls, Pretty 1-2 Cosmetics, Nami South Suburbs, River Edge Hospital, Patch Party Club, Brain Truth Wakana, an American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Thank you, Sinclair. Those are our sponsors. And if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, go to thebraintruth.com or you can always Cash App us at Cash App, # The Brain Truth. We are looking for sponsors and go right to our site and it'll let you know all the different levels and all the different offerings. So let's get into the brain buzz. The brain buzz for tonight, they're talking about major depressive order. It's a debilitating disorder affecting millions of people each year. Brain-derived neurotrophic factors called BDNF and inflammation are two prominent biological risk factors in the pathogenesis of depression. And of course, every time I read the brain buzz, I'm gonna have to go to Dr. Gettings so she can like break some of this stuff down. But some of this has received considerable attention. Many clinical and animal studies have highlighted associations between low levels of BDNF or high levels of inflammatory markers and the development of behavioral symptoms of depression. And we talked about that with James Stockton, who is a world renowned, we call him like a pain whisperer. And he's out there in Atlanta with my sister from Atlanta Housewives and my mom, and they're working on their inflammation, their pain. I hear my mom is bouncing around and making gumbo and stew. So, however, less is known about potential interaction between BDNF and inflammation, particularly within the central nervous system. Emerging evidence suggests that there is a bidirectional regulation between these factors with important implications for the development of depressive symptoms and antidepressants response. Elevated levels of inflammatory mediators have been shown to reduce expression of BDNF, and BDNF may play an important negative regulatory role on inflammation within the brain. Understanding this interaction more fully within the context of neuropsychiatric disease is important for both developing a fuller understanding of biological pathogenesis of depression and for identifying novel therapeutic opportunities. That's a lot. Break that down. But let's go right into our disclaimer.
We got to do
The Brain Truth does not serve the purpose of providing medical treatment or therapy services, diagnosis, prevention, or cure for any physical, mental, or emotional issue, disease, or condition. As a member of our audience, you agree that the Brain Truth does not assume a liability for any physical or mental disease, condition, or issue, or any other type of loss or damage due to any information shared on our broadcast.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go. I know you're excited about our new segment, Dr. Gettings, called the Brain Biology.
We missed our brain bit. We got to do our brain bit.
Oh yeah, we're going to do it. But we want to go. We're going to do it. We didn't miss it. We know it's going to kick off the laughter. But I want to talk about the brain biology because it goes into all that mouthful that I just had. And so the brain biology is something we added because see, when we started this show, I was talking about like the brain, because as you guys know, when I spent 19 days, I say this every week, but I spent 19 days in a psychiatric hospital from June 27th to July 15th. And I remember the psychiatrist saying, you know, oh, so you gonna talk today? And I'm like, I ain't never met you. I ain't never seen you a day in my life. And he was like, well, I've been talking to you every day for 9 days. And to this day, I don't know what happened to me for 9 days. And thank God I was in a safe environment, because when we talk about what is going on with the brain, I can't tell you. And that's when I decided to dedicate my life to exploring mental illness and having these normalized conversations and then really telling people like, what is the brain and the parts of the brain? So we have this section called brain biology. So Dr. Gettings, get into it, honey, get into it.
Yes, so brain biology is so important. I'm glad we're adding this as a segment so that every week when you join, you can learn more about your brain and its anatomy and how it works. And so one thing that we just learned in our brain buzz, looking at brain biology, is that we have certain neurochemicals, right? And what Allison just explained is one specific factor that is crucial when it comes to decreasing inflammation in the brain. We know that there are lots of diseases that can cause malfunction in the brain. And so when we look at depression, when we look at Alzheimer's, anxiety disorders, it's really key for us to understand the parts of our brain. So last week we talked about depression. And in that conversation, we started talking about the mind-body connection, the seat of the soul. And what came up is a part of the brain called the pineal gland. So it's a part of our brain that we all learned about in medical school. I can't wait to get to our juicy guests. But
Yes.
the pineal gland is oftentimes referred to as the third eye because of its role in one of our major biological rhythms, which is the circadian rhythm. So we have a gland in our brain known as the pineal gland. And when you dissect it, the pieces of it, excuse me, actually look like the rods and the cones that are in our eyes. So it primarily functions off of the receiving light. So when you think about the pineal gland, think about a hormone known as melatonin. And
Yes.
melatonin is released in the brain when your eyes are not receiving light. So your eyes communicate with the pineal gland and it helps to manage your circadian rhythm. And let me tell you, as a psychiatrist, when people come to me and they are struggling with different symptoms, one of the most common things that I see is a struggle with going to sleep, insomnia.
Yes.
Okay? And so I think it's really important that we understand more about this gland, and not only just this one gland, but our entire hormone system, which is medically termed our endocrine system. Okay.
Yes.
And one of the things that's so important about tonight, as we bring on our guests, we recently just celebrated Women Physicians Day.
Yes.
February the 3rd. Okay. And I'm just going to say this as a full transparency moment. Okay. Going through a pandemic as a healthcare provider, if nothing else, really drove the point home that we need to see more people pursuing healthcare careers. I don't know what did. We need our youth to understand how important it is to pursue careers in medicine. So tonight, we really wanted to bring to you some great women physicians. And as we talk about the pineal gland and the endocrine system, I really want to introduce to you all different specialties of medicine. We want you all to understand not only do you go to medical school, but you get to decide what type of doctor you want to be. And I don't know how many of our viewers have heard of the endocrine system, but oftentimes when I talk about our hormone system, it's like this, what? So understanding all of the parts of your brain, your hormone system, and all of the other parts of our major biological systems is so important to us here on the Brain Truth. And tonight, we are just going to scratch the surface of some of these specialties with some amazing doctors here to celebrate Women Physicians Day.
Yay! So I was thinking about this, the part we have now we call the brain bit, and that's when we do this funny joke and do these brain bit jokes. But I wanted the doctors in the room, so when Kingston does his joke, we can kind of like see if we all can get it, because I think it's cool. Okay. So you ready? I want to bring in the people for you, Kingston. Get you a bigger crowd. How about that? Okay. I forget about you. Okay, so I want you to bring on the doctors, and I'm so excited about these doctors because I am a fan of all of them, especially one I'll be stalking. So, Dr. Sandra Sobel, did I say that correctly? Yes. Dr. Sandra Sobel, Dr. Sandra Endokashia Sobel. I hope I said that correctly. Okay, is a board certified endocrinologist with additional board certifications in lifestyle medicine and obesity medicine. She is originally from the Chicago suburbs. Oh, shout out to the Chicago suburbs. Hello. And earned her medical degree from the University of Chicago Pritzker School. Oh, she real smart of medicine. Okay. Dr. Sobel went on to complete her intern year of internal medicine residency at New York Presbyterian Columbia Hospital in New York City. Her final 2 years of residency at Loyola University Medical Center in Chicago, and finished with a fellowship in endocrinology at the University of Pittsburgh. She stayed on as a faculty at the University of Pittsburgh Division of Endocrinology and served as a clinical chief of endocrinology at UPMC Mercy for 7 years. Wow. During this time, she was awarded multiple institutional grants that funded her clinical research interests in the delivery of diabetes care using diabetes technology. Woo! published in peer-reviewed medical journals, and authored multiple book chapters. She has given talks at national conferences related to her clinical interests as metabolic health, specifically conditions of insulin resistance such as diabetes and obesity. That's huge. That's major. She is the founder of Summon Health, the first direct care endocrine clinic. And I need to go to school just to read her bio. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that specializes in metabolic health. At Summon Health, she supplements the medical visits by applying culinary medicine through use of her teaching, kitchen, and meditation instruction via her meditation room. Wow, I'm a yogi. Okay. Dr. Sobel, am I saying that correctly?
Sobel.
Okay. Lives in Pittsburgh with her husband, 2 children, and their dog. She is a proud Latina, raised bilingual, and is fluent in Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hasta luego. That's all I know. She loves food, going to farmers markets, at art festivals, learning about the diversity of cultures, dancing both socially and to embarrass her children, and socializing with family and friends. Welcome, everybody. Dr. Sobel! Hello! Hi, doctor.
Hi. Oh, Allison, you had me rolling on the floor when you were reading that. That was
I'm trying to read. I'm like, okay, let me delete my name, wipe yours out, and do things in life. Welcome to the Brain Truth. Nice to see you. Let's bring you all in. Okay, Dr. Noel Reed. Okay, so Dr. Noel, don't get scared, but I stalk you. I follow you. I'll be trying to do your dancing, honey. The dancing doctor, honey. Okay, so Dr. Noel Reed is a board-certified family medicine physician who completed her residency at Harvard UCLA Medical Center and medical school training at the University of Chicago. She went there too, University of Chicago Pritzker School of Medicine. Oh, wow. Okay. She is a native of Chicago. Chi-town. Okay. And prior to medical school, served as a health administrative intern at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Midwest Division. She worked as a patient advocate at Evanston Northwestern Hospital through the Institute for Diversity, and after graduating cum laude, of course, from Spelman College, joined AmeriCorps I Have a Dream Foundation. There she worked in Los Angeles, coordinating after-school programs that aided in tutoring and instructing elementary students in reading, math, science, and dance. Wow. Prior to medical school, Dr. Reed was a trained dancer and knows the importance of healing through a holistic approach that focuses on all elements of the individual body, mind, and spirit. That's right up there with the Brain Truth.
Yes, it is.
Take a moment and do this, Ashe. Okay. As each element affects the other. Exactly. Dr. Reed bridges her love for dance through the practice of yoga and Pilates. As a certified yoga instructor, she made yoga and movement a focal point in her practice. Dr. Reed has been featured in Martha Stewart Living, Shape Magazine, Huffington Post, LA Magazine, and a variety of other blogs and publications. She has also been a medical contributor for ABC, Good Morning America, Fox Soul TV, The Front Page with Dominique DePrima. Oh, I like the app. Good Day LA, Fox 11, and The Doctor Show. She was also a cast member on Married to Medicine, honey. Woo, Los Angeles. Welcome, Dr. Reed. Oh, my goodness.
hello.
Hi, doctor. Hey, doctor. Girl, yes, honey. I stalk you and I follow you. You are the bomb. All of y'all. I actually follow all of y'all, but I don't want to scare y'all yet. Okay, so you can do this. You want to do this last bio or?
Yes, sure. Yes. Woo. So, I'm not sure if you all have seen a theme yet, but we have some University of Chicago South
I see Chi-Town in the whole building.
Yes.
Harold's Chicken, Deep Dish Pizza. Hello.
Yes. Not the real, but okay. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Ashley Crumby, who is a board-certified child and adolescent psychiatrist. She completed her undergraduate education at the University of Michigan and achieved her medical degree from Pritzker. She spent her general psychiatry residency at Baylor College of Medicine, and she completed her child and adolescent psychiatry training at Boston Children's Hospital at Harvard Medical School. After her training, Dr. Crumby was on the faculty as an associate professor in psychiatry at Cornell University Medical School, where she worked on the adolescent unit at New York Presbyterian Westchester Division. Dr. Crumpy then worked with Hackensack University Medical Center, providing outpatient care to children and teens, as well as providing supervision to pediatric residents and general psychiatry residents completing their clinical rotation in psychiatry. Dr. Crumpy currently works in a group private practice that treats children, adolescents, and young adults. She is passionate about a holistic treatment approach, as we all are, considering all areas of an individual's wellness and lifestyle. Dr. Crumby believes in the impact of diet, psychotherapy, physical activity, and overall family health. She is also co-leading a support group for child psychiatry fellows at New York Presbyterian Hospital. Welcome, Dr. Crumby.
Yay!
Hey! Represent. Yes, that's Mr.
Wow.
Yes.
What an honor to see all these female doctors. So first of all, happy National Women's Physician Day. Woo woo!
Thank
Even
you.
though we're celebrating it today. So Kingston, do your brain bit now. What's a little part of the brain truth where we just do a little brain bit show?
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's brain bit is what are hippopotamuses' favorite part of the brain? The hippocampus.
Hippocampus?
Good job. Okay, so I'm turning it over to the Bitty Brain Gang. The show is all yours.
Yes.
So who's going to kick it off?
Take it away, Kingston.
All right.
You got it.
Would you mind telling us about your specialty and why you chose the specialty of medicine?
Say it one more time, Kingston.
Who do you want to specifically ask first, and then tell the next person?
All right, I was wondering, would you mind telling us about and why you chose the specialty of medicine?
So,
Dr. Reed?
I'll start. Thank you, Kingston. Excellent question.
Yes.
So, I am a family medicine physician, okay, which basically is as it sounds. So I take care of the entire family. Okay, that means from what we say, the cradle to the grave. So from newborn to the end of life, I take care of everyone from the beginning to the end and in between. And as a family medicine physician, I'm really what you may consider the gatekeeper of medicine, right? Because oftentimes people see me first. So when you have a cough or a cold, maybe when you need to get a physical or you need your vaccinations, I'm the person that you would come to see. But as a family doctor, you know, we see all comers. So as I mentioned, from the cradle to the grave, right? So newborn to older adults, I see all members of the family, boys and girls, men and women, and I really treat all conditions. So anywhere from like diabetes to high blood pressure, if maybe you have a pain in your back, or maybe you're not feeling so well emotionally, you're having some issues with depression or anxiety, I treat all of those things. And that's actually one of the reasons why I chose family, is that there would never be a dull day, right? Because not one patient's going to look like or be like the next. Each room that I walk into is a different situation. You know, so I might be going in to take care of a newborn that maybe the mom just delivered 2 weeks ago, and we have to make sure baby is feeding well and peeing and pooping as they should. And in the next room, maybe I have another patient that's not feeling so well emotionally. They've been having issues with depression, and they want to discuss, you know, are there medications that I can try, or maybe there's some yoga techniques that we can do to aid with their depression and anxiety. So it really runs the gamut, and that's one of the reasons why I chose family, is that there was so much variety. There's never a dull moment. And because I take care of the entire families, I get to build relationships. So, you know, I get to see an individual throughout the entire lifespan, and not just know them, but perhaps know their whole family, because I have whole families that come to me. And understanding too that our health is not just what happens for us individually, but how we're affected in the family dynamics, you know, what's happening in our environment. And so as a family doc, I actually have some insight in that because maybe I know your mom and I know your dad. I take care of them too. So that helps me come up with better diagnoses and better ways to treat you because I have the full picture.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Your next doctor, Dr. Sobel.
Thank you. So, Kingston, I'm an endocrinologist, and your mom was speaking about earlier the endocrine system. And so, when I was in medical school and learning about the endocrine system, what really fascinated me was, like Dr. Reed saying, the variety that was available. We have these different organs in our body that secrete these tiny proteins called hormones. And what they are, they're signals. They're these chemical signals that go from where they're secreted, travel in the blood, and have an effect in another organ somewhere else. And the body wants to be in balance. But anytime there's either too much of the signal or too little of the signal, then we can see certain medical conditions come up. And so trying to investigate what is going on, where is that signal off, and then trying to address why and what we can do from a lifestyle perspective or from a medicine perspective. And so some of these organs include the pineal gland, they include the parathyroid, thyroid, pituitary, as well as the ovaries, testicles, and pancreas. So pancreas makes insulin, so we see a lot of diabetes. And that's really what interests me a whole lot. So diabetes and obesity medicine is also this growing field that we're really understanding a lot about. And so trying to, like I said, investigate where the disorder may be arising from, and then speaking with patients about that. And once you're able to identify it and address it, seeing how people really improve is very gratifying. And so that's my passion behind endocrinology. And I'm so excited to be here with all these amazing physicians.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right.
So
And the final doctor?
Yes, I love that question, Kingston. So I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist, and I went into medical school knowing that I was very, very interested in mental health. I had prayed a lot for God to order my steps and to send me in the direction that he wanted me to go. So I knew that I was either going to do pediatrics because I've always loved working with kids, or I was going to be a child psychiatrist. And so at the end of my training, I thought, what could I do every day where it wouldn't feel like work, where I'm really enjoying myself and helping out someone else? And that's what brought me to psychiatry. And so every day, Monday through Friday, so not every day, but Monday through Friday, I see kids and families, and I get to talk to them about their diet. I get to talk to them about physical activity. We talk about meditation apps. We talk about a lot of things outside of medication that can help people feel better, and also talk about how to identify mental illness and how to identify stressors and how to identify your supports. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm really passionate about doing what I do.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Who's next, Dr. Gettings?
Okay, so next up we have Sinclair, who has a question for our guest. Sinclair, you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Go ahead and ask your question.
My question is, I'm really interested in learning how long you've been a doctor and what inspired you to be a doctor.
Just keep the same order?
Yeah.
Okay. So how long did it take me to become a doctor? Is that the question? Or how long have I been practicing?
I think how long you've been practicing.
Practicing? Okay. So I've been practicing, let me do the math now. Let's see, 15 years.
Wow.
Been 15 years. So that's after training. Okay. So training took some time. So it's 4 years of medical school, and for family medicine, it's a 3-year residency program. And so now 15 years after that. So I've been practicing for a good amount of time. And what inspired me to become a doctor? So I actually knew at an early age. So I figured things out pretty much in the beginning of a stage of things. So at 5 is when I told my mom that I wanted to be a dancing doctor. And I didn't know exactly what that meant. But what I did know is that I love to dance and I love science. And somehow I was going to marry the two. And I didn't have an image, I have to tell you. I didn't have an image to hold on to. There wasn't necessarily a model for me to follow, but I did have a pediatrician that I loved. And he, so not she, but he, was a Black man on the south side of Chicago. His name was Dr. Runner. And I was, that was that your pediatrician? Small world. Dr. Runner was my doctor. And I absolutely loved him. He was a member of the family. Really, he became a member of the family, and he was my first really inspiration. He was the first image that I had in terms of what it really means to be a doctor. And not only that, but what it means to be a boss, because not only was he a physician, but he owned his own practice. And that was exciting to me, even though I didn't really understand how things worked at 5, that I was able to get a glimpse of how perhaps I wanted my life to look like. And so that was the initial spark for me. And so from there, I just stayed true to what I loved, and that was dance and science. So if I wasn't in the dance room or on a stage, I was in a laboratory, or I was in a library, or I was trying to find other people that looked like they were doing things that I wanted to do, to shadow them, to see, get a glimpse of perhaps what my life could look like. So that was my initial journey, was, trying to become that dancing doctor and eventually creating the image for myself, because I didn't have one to follow. So I eventually figured out what she looked like and how she fit in the world. So
cool.
Yes.
That's amazing. Sinclair, I was a year younger than you when I decided and figured out I really wanted to be a doctor. So I'm first generation born here in the United States. Both of my parents were born and raised in Peru. And they moved here to the United States, where I was born. My father is an engineer, got his PhD here in the United States, had to study very late at night with an English dictionary next to him while taking these English classes. My mom came here not knowing the language and learned the language while she was here, supporting him in his studies. And so it was this tenacity that I was brought into. And just seeing how hard my parents worked, I knew that also a career in medicine required a dedication and perseverance that I was really able to pull from my parents. I also, like Dr. Reed, I didn't have anyone to look to as an example in medicine. There were no doctors in my family, despite my parents coming from really large families. But my pediatrician was a female doctor. And so I remember she was somebody that I really enjoyed going to see. And so she really inspired me. And science was something that I just really took to. And I just continued at it. My parents were always very supportive of my passion within the medical field, and then just building that community around you. When you are speaking with other people and sharing what it is that really gets you going, you really start to build a community of people who support you, who push you forward. And I was really fortunate to have the support of my parents, of friends, and then with each step in training, you sort of form this group that you push each other. And so I've been in practice as an endocrinologist. So the medical school with your mom, Dr. Gettings and Dr. Crumby, we all graduated the same year. Then I went into internal medicine. That's 3 years training. And then endocrinology is an additional 2 years. And so I've been doing what I'm doing in endocrinology for coming up now, I have to do the math too, 9 years. So it's been amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I love that question, Sinclair. So I've been doing this for 9 years, just like Dr. Sobel. And what inspired me, initially I had so many different things that I thought about in terms of what do I want to do with my career. First, it was a fashion designer. So I would make all these sketches. And then I gave that up because I wasn't good at sewing. Then I wanted to be a marine biologist because I really love science. But then I figured out I don't like animals that much. And so I kept thinking about what do I want to do? And I had 2 doctors that my dad was really good friends with, and they were very strong men, very inspiring. And so I thought, why not be a doctor? why not me? Why not be a Black female doctor? And one of the things that kept me going is continuous support from my family, from my parents, from my grandparents. But I also had a group of really, really close friends that we literally went through every stage of education together, and they were my inspiration. So the days that I didn't feel like studying, they were bringing me to the library, including, Dr. Gettings and Dr. Sobel, encouraging me to keep going. And it's really about having a group that supports you, whether it's family or not family, that wants to see you win and wants to see you reach your potential.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely. I cannot believe that Dr. Reed went to Dr. Runner. So let me just say this real quick.
Oh my gosh, it's such a small world.
Dr. Reed and I went to high school together. I was also a guy.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Whitney Young.
Winnie Young, Michelle Obama.
Okay.
and now to find out we have the same pediatrician. Okay, mind blown. So
That's crazy.
So let's bring on Zion. Zion's got a question for our wonderful guest.
Hi guys.
Hi Zion.
Hi. I just want to say, Miss Sobel, I really like how you talked about connecting like all the body systems with the insulin and producing things like that, because that's what I'm learning about right now. And just to connect back to that, what advice would you give for many of the young generation that want to pursue a career in medicine, considering that like being a TikTok star, being an influencer is the main choice of our generation right now?
Zion, that question shows a level of maturity, but beyond your years. And so one thing I want to say is you guys are absolutely our future. And so seeing these like big, bright eyes, absorbing all this information just reaffirms like, this is what I want to do. And I want kids to see how much we enjoy taking care of others and continuing to learn. And so my advice to younger generation who is interested in medicine is absolutely do it. You can absolutely do it. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be fun. It's going to be frustrating, but it's going to be so worth it. And you can expect that there's going to be days where you're going to question yourself and say, maybe it's just easier if I press record and start, doing something on TikTok, and do it. But at the same time, if your passion, if deep down within, there's this burning of, I have a purpose of wanting to really connect with people and help people, then you need to keep on tapping into that. And like I said, and Dr. Crombie and Dr. Reed will attest to too, having those people who support you or going to and expressing these frustrations will make a difference, because whenever you start to second guess yourself, these people that you've surrounded yourself with will remind you, this is why you told us you wanted to do this. And that'll be what pushes you through. But it takes a lot of grit, a lot of studying, a lot of late nights and early mornings, but it's worth it.
For sure.
Yes. Dr. Reed, you want to take that question too?
Sure. And Dr. Sobel, that was an excellent answer. And I so agree with all of those things. I've always felt that medicine is one of those special careers where it's really a calling. I think for most of us who choose medicine, we don't choose it, it chooses us.
Yes.
And so there is something, that I think we have, especially as women, is that internal navigator that tells us, that gut feeling of what direction we're supposed to go into. And so if that is what your gut is telling you, if medicine is your path, if that's your journey, that's where you have to go. And you never allow anything externally to limit you in any way. I have a lot of students that will shadow me or that I mentor, and they always kind of get caught up in, well, my grades aren't that good, or my test scores weren't where I need them to be, and kind of using that as a way to limit themselves. But you don't limit yourself ever, because honestly, in medicine, and I think in any career across the board, the person who gets to the MD is the one who is willing to run the race. The one who is willing to keep pushing through to get to the finish line. It was not the smartest person in the class, because I know I wasn't the smartest person. It wasn't the person that had the highest scores on all of the the exams that were necessary to get to the end. It was a person that was willing to keep pushing forward, you know, to stay up late when they needed to get up early when they needed to do all of those things that are necessary to complete anything in life. And so that is what I would say in terms of medicine, is that if it is your calling, it is your calling, and you push through regardless of whatever obstacles may come across you, because you will get through them. And it's also good to build a good support network, because you're going to need to have those people around you to remind you of yourself, okay, to remind you of who you are and whose you are, and that you are able to do this, and that this is whatever your challenge you have in the moment is temporary. You know, you'll be able to get through it, because that makes a difference as well. And that's one of the reasons actually why I chose University of Chicago, because I'm from Chicago, from the South Side. I was going back to my community, and I knew that if there was any point where I felt that I was falling back, I was going to have someone there to lift me up. And so it's so important to understand that too. If it's medicine or something else, keep your tribe around you at all times.
Yes.
Yes.
Such good advice so far. To add to that, I would just say that anything that is worth it, you're going to have to grind to do it. You're going to have to keep pushing, even when you want to give up. And it's really important that you don't give up. You have people around you that are going to keep encouraging you, and that you have a good mentor. So one of the people that was a mentor, I think, to most of us was Dr. McDade.
Yes.
At Pritzker, and he never gave up on us. He believed in me when I didn't believe in me. And, you know, he was a constant source of support. So having a good mentor, having an idea of what you want your life to be like as a physician, because there's not a cookie cutter way. You know, everyone on the panel has really kind of constructed a life for themselves, in addition to medicine, where they're doing yoga, they're doing meditation, they're volunteering, they're having other areas of their life that they're contributing to. So I'm really grateful for that question. And I hope that if you're interested in medicine, you'll keep in touch with all of us.
Yes.
Because we're more than happy to keep encouraging you.
For sure.
Yeah. Any more questions? And guys, if you guys want to call in, of course, reach us at 708-545-2446. 708-545-2446. The number is going across the ticker. Give us a call if you have any questions for our guests or our Bitty Brain Gang.
What are some of your favorite activities outside of being a doctor? Same order.
Well, I would say mine is dancing for sure. Thank you, Sinclair. Get us together, honey. Get us together.
Same order in that order.
Yes.
Same order in that order.
In that order, yes. So for me, it's definitely dance. Dance has always been a constant in my life. It has been my balance. It has been my way of release. It has been my way to stay sane. So whenever I get an opportunity to dance, I do that in some form or fashion. So if it's doing a TikTok or if it is taking a class, you know, I'll get on. I'll still take ballet classes on Zoom now. You know, whenever I get a chance to, just making sure that I'm staying active and keeping that in my life and not losing any part of myself, because I think that's important too. When you become an adult and you start adulting, and certainly when you're a physician, you don't want to lose yourself in any way. So those things that you enjoy, that make you happy, you want to keep them present in your life. And so for me, it's dance and yoga. Those would be the two things that I love to do.
Yes.
I love dance as well. Unlike Dr. Reed, I am not trained in dance. So I just do exactly. I mean, it's like that. Like I'm cleaning and then my son comes and then quickly leaves the room. And, it's a relief. So listening to music, it's something that was always around growing up. My parents instilled that in us. We'd have big get-togethers in the house. People would be playing music, and there'd be just a lot of noise and dancing. So that is something I still take with me. It just brings me a lot of joy. And I love to eat. I love food. And for a while, I didn't enjoy cooking so much, but it was because I never realized like what was the purpose of my eating. And when I realized like it's to nourish myself and for health, I got really creative with all these vegetables and greens put together. So the thing I really love doing is looking at restaurants to go eat and dancing.
Yes.
So there are so many things that I try to do outside of medicine that have been harder during the pandemic. I love to travel. I love to add stamps to my passport. So that's been a little hard not being able to do that. I also like to exercise. So I run a lot. I use the Peloton as often as I can. I love to bake. So I've taken up baking during the pandemic, cupcakes, cakes, pies, and then I love to eat them. And then the last thing that I really, really enjoy is having a dance party with my sons. So we put Alexa on, they each pick a song, we dance it out for a couple minutes before they go to bed, and just the best thing ever.
Oh, so
Cute.
sweet. Okay, Zion, Zion or Kingston, whoever, who's going next?
So we have a call in actually.
Okay, let's get a call.
So turn down your something in the background, but go ahead, Pastor Jeanette Jordan.
Well, I don't know what's in the background. I'm just enjoying this podcast. So awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mother.
Okay,
this
you
is
know,
my mother.
I'm hard of hearing. So, but I just wanted to let these dynamic ladies know I am just so honored to see these women of color sitting on this platform, encouraging itty bitty gang brain members to go for it, to be the best that they can be, and go for the stars, go for the moon, go beyond. And it just touches my heart because my husband was a pediatrician, Allison's dad, Zion's granddad, and he would be so awesomely honored to see you guys sitting here. He was a mentor to many medical students. He was a mentor to the young doctors that are out there practicing medicine. He would be so honored, and I just know that in his heart he probably knows what's going on, although he suffers dementia now. But hearing these stories just reminded me of his path of going to medical school. He would tell you he wasn't the smartest dude in the world, but he had the stick-to-itiveness. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew what his passion was, and he went for it. He let nothing stop him, and he wanted to be the best in his community and care for his people. And he decided that everyone deserves quality health care no matter what their socioeconomic orientation was. And so he worked in the indigent community, although he had his patients coming from, what was that, Midtown, Upper Town, Downtown, everywhere that came because he was dedicated to his craft. I just want to congratulate you all. I want to thank you all for sharing this information with these youngins because this is our future. And so we need more in the medical field, I know. It's kind of going by the wayside. But we need to encourage our kids to let them know this is what they can do. And you're there as their mentors to help them through it. So I guess I'll shut up now. I'm a pastor and I can start preaching and I'll be on here too long. So I thank you. And again, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when you mentioned, Dr. Reed, about having somebody to have your back, right? It's really a support system. And I just remember a story, and my mom can attest to this, and my sister's watching when my dad was working at the post office, and he wanted a better life for his family. I think he wanted to buy my mom a Cadillac or something. I don't know, a story like that. And he goes, if I was a doctor, I could buy her one. And he ended up going to medical school while we were young.
Wow.
There are photos of my dad and us playing as he's reading his medical books in the backyard. And we watched my dad. I mean, I remember he was the first Black chief resident of pediatrics at Rush Presbyterian. And I remember one day he forgot to take me to school, and I spent the whole time in the doctor's lounge eating cookies all day. But he was a hands-on dad. He was present. You know, my mom was a support system. We all, as all the kids, had a rite of passage, and we all worked at my dad's office. I was executive administrator for many years. Krista, my sister, and Brian. My sister went on, and she's the vice president or some big title, Zion's mother at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and my brother's a very high level pharmaceutical rep. Of course, I didn't, I stayed the longest working with my dad, but didn't go into the medical field. But what I did learn as doctors and listening to you guys, it's emotional because my dad was such an incredible doctor, is that you have that passion and you have that light, and it's just not medicine, and it's more than that. And that's what he did bedside. I mean, these patients would wait for him for hours and hours, because once you went in that room, he was treating the mind, the body, the soul. My mother was there praying with you, and we were fixing lunch, and they came to the house sometimes in our garage, and he had a doctor bag. Matter of fact, I have my dad's doctor bag, and so I just want to commend you guys on just believing and listening to your spirit. I believe, and knowing that it's anointed and assigned work. So I just wanted to add that in there. I didn't know if you guys had any more questions, the Bitty Brain Gang, because we're going to kind of wrap it up in a minute with final words. But you guys have a shoot out another question, I think. Okay, so let's go. Let's zip through it real quick from the top. Kingston, Sinclair, and Zion, and then we're going to wrap it up and have a little quick conversation.
I don't have any more questions.
She asked the second question.
You're right. Okay, so Sinclair.
Okay, I'm just gonna add one in. Are you able to tell us some of your future goals as a doctor?
Some of my future goals as a doctor. Sure, Sinclair. Thank you for blessing me with another question. I really appreciate it.
Just gonna add one up in there, honey.
I know. It is an excellent question.
Don't you love it?
Future goals as a doctor. Well, I have my own practice here in Los Angeles. So I would say my goal is to continue to grow my practice, to continue to add any extra things that I can to make sure that I really make it a one-stop shop for my patients, because that's what Trinity is. Trinity Health and Wellness is my practice here. And so we incorporate yoga and Pilates and dance within the practice to really treat any ailment for sure. So just continue to grow that, and, figuring out too how I can not just teach within the four walls of my clinic, but to the world. So building a platform so that I can continue to share as much knowledge as I can. And so that's the next phase for me, is building that platform.
Yes.
Sinclair, that's an excellent question and really timely. I actually had found myself, so even within the field of medicine, when you land and you're doing what you want to do, you always have to reevaluate where you are and if it's still aligning with what you had in mind. And so recently I had realized I just didn't have enough time with my patients to really talk to them about what was going on. Why did they have these symptoms that they were having, or these medical conditions that they were having? So instead of just quickly looking at labs and saying, here's a medicine, I'll see you in 6 months, I wanted to sit down and talk about things and really have them understand why. How did this happen? What can we do about it, where we can address different parts of lifestyle, nutrition, physical activity, stress, sleep, and maybe with addressing those things, minimize how many medicines somebody needs, or the doses that they need, or maybe even pull back some of the medicines, right? They were seeing me when they were really, really sick as a specialist. If I could have just intervened a year or two earlier, I realized maybe we didn't have to meet in this way. So then I decided to go out on my own. I started my own practice called Summon Health. And that's where I get to sit down with people one-on-one about what they're doing. My goal in this practice is to be available for them when they have questions, When they need to call, they get me. To have the time where I don't feel rushed and they don't feel rushed, and really have them understand what it is that brought them here, brought us together, and how can we work together to really achieve the health goals that they're wanting to achieve. So that's my goal. It's a lofty goal. It's one of the first here in Pittsburgh, specializing in metabolic health. And I am absolutely thrilled to be doing it.
Yeah.
Great. So I would like to continue to grow my practice, continue to reach out to adolescents and to teens and young children to help them with mental health. I have been partnering with some schools, so I would like to grow that part of my practice to do more work within the school system and to get people in the school system to understand how to recognize when someone's depressed, when someone's anxious, that sometimes school refusal is because there's other things behind it. And then the last thing that I would like to do that's been in my heart and on my mind is working with more pediatricians. A lot of times people will present with depression to their pediatrician or to their family medicine doctor before they'll want to see me. There's a lot of stigma with seeing a psychiatrist still. And so usually family medicine pediatricians are on the front line with helping people deal with depression and anxiety. So I'd like to help better equip them to help more kids.
Nice. Like that. Like that.
Can I just say one more goal? Because in the practice, I do culinary medicine. And so one of my goals is to also get Chef Allie and Chef Kingston one of these days to partner with me in the teaching kitchen.
Yes. I was doing vegan food back in the day. I was a culinary school back in the 90s or whatever. And they said, oh, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. No one's going to eat this crap. Hello. I could have been Impossible Burger lady. Like, you know, I go to get my vegan food. Everybody a vegan now. I'm like, hold on now. Wait a minute. Everybody should have a vegan card. I need mine first. But anyway, we have another question from Kylie Gettings. I mean, the Gettings family is busting out of the seams. What's your question?
Hi, my name is Kylie Gettings. I would like to just congratulate my cousins Jackson and Sinclair on the interview.
Wow.
My question is, how did you cope with the stress of the pandemic and being a doctor?
Wow. Excellent question. Thank you, Kylie. They're going to answer it. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Oh.
How do you cope?
I know, Kylie. That's such a good question. You know, there's a few ways, and one is that take it day by day. You know, I understand that I'm going to live in this moment, and the present is where my power lies. So I'm going to focus on what's happening right now. Not, you know, putting so much attention on what happened yesterday or being worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, because you find yourself getting into that vicious cycle of hesitation and trepidation, right? Because there's always a ball that's going to drop the next day. And that's how I felt with COVID, is that I was waiting for that next thing to come out, that next variant, that next issue, that next surge. And so I had to get myself out of that cycle and just say, you know what, I'm going to focus on what's happening right now. And whatever I can do for today is enough. And honestly, being very conscious about what I did expose myself to, right? So I had to take care of my patients and keep up to date with what's happening every day, but I didn't have to inundate myself with it. So that meant turning off the news, you know, not allowing myself to get so wrapped up into what's happening around us and happening in the world, being conscious about what I looked at on social media, being conscious about conversations I would have with people and the people that I had around me, because that also affects you. So not only is COVID contagious, but energy is contagious. So people's energy can affect you. So I had to make sure that if I had the power to do so, I would keep people around me that were going to be positive and that were going to be able to lift me up. And that's how I'd say I've gotten through COVID time.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's an excellent question. We're still living it, right? And it just seems like the finish line just keeps on getting pushed, right? one of the things I realized a lot about myself during this. And I remember I was working at the computer in my office, and all of a sudden this sense of just doom came. And I was just, working on a note, nothing disturbing about the note. And that's when I realized, oh, this is panic. This is anxiety. And as much as we try to be like rigid and hold it all together, we also have to recognize we're humans too, and we absorb a lot. And if we don't release it, that lid is going to pop. And so I started taking up meditation, and it made a world of a difference for me. The meditation. So, I personally practice transcendental meditation. There are many forms out there. And then having the support of my family has been the world. So making sure that there's a healthy release of all these emotions has got me day by day, and to be able to better serve my patients as well.
Absolutely.
That was a very, very good question, Kylie. So, one of the things that the pandemic has really caused me to do, even as a psychiatrist, is really look at my own self-care. Am I putting on my oxygen mask first? And what am I doing to care for myself while I'm talking to people about anxiety and depression and all of the things that they've dealt with during the pandemic? And so I've been much more intentional about my time. I've spent time reading. I've gone for a run outside when the weather's been nice. I've tried to take moments that are important moments and find a way to still celebrate them. So we may not be able to have the 3-year-old's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese like we planned. Okay, so we'll do a Zoom party. We'll make an awesome birthday cake. We'll invite all his family and put on some music, and he's going to enjoy it. I am too. And so really trying to be intentional about how I spend my time and make sure that I'm caring for myself too.
That's awesome. Zion, you want to finish the last question?
Yes, I do. I have a last question. So Kylie already did touch on it during the pandemic, but there was a primary theme that has been true but highlighted a lot with the disparities in communities of color. And with that being said, can you share your personal mission on leveling the field where health equity is concerned?
Zion. Oh, you guys are wonderful. Wonderful. And right on.
I can't even understand the question. So,
Zion, your question is excellent. I think, honestly, what the pandemic has really showed is what disparities have existed for decades. It is nothing new, right? In the medical field, at least I would say maybe not all of us, but some of us were aware of these things. It wasn't a secret. It wasn't unknown. But I think that now the world has gotten to see, when we go into a war, when we go into a battle, some of us don't have the best armor, right? And so that means, lack of access, lack of accessibility to care. And so what I would say is, my charge is, first of all, to be seen, because it makes a difference when you're seen, right? When there are people that are in your community that see you and know that you exist, then maybe there's a little less trepidation with actually going into the medical community, because you feel that there are now people there that are willing there to actually give you the care that you need and that you can trust. So that's one thing that I would say. And in addition to being seen, to being a mentor, because we do need to increase the numbers of representation, because that does have an impact in terms of how medicine is distributed in the community. It does make a difference when you have the medical community mirror what the world looks like. And so that means continuing to push to bring people like you to the finish line, right? So that we have more Zions, and we have Kingston, we have Sinclair, and we have all of you guys available and present in the medical field.
Yes, absolutely.
Zion, amazing question. And to just highlight what Dr. Reed was saying, representation absolutely matters, right? In order for our communities to be able to see women like us, minorities in medicine, is very important, because now that becomes a reality for others, for kids who are toying with the idea. Mentorship absolutely having those people that you can reach out to and question and ask what their journey was like, and they can share with you their story, and then you can take tidbits of that and apply it to yourself and create your own, right? And then another important part where I try to do my part is through education, because there's, with health, of course, culture plays a huge part of that. And so being able to speak the language of my Latino community and really educate them on diabetes, the disproportionate prevalence of diabetes in the community and obesity in the community. And so, I partner with the Latino Community Center here, and I'm giving a talk in Spanish about diabetes in the Latino community so that they can ask questions. Food comes up a lot, medicines, being able to understand what it is and why they're taking what they're taking, and then taking it to a large scale. So I'll be talking about diabetes in the Latino community at the National Hispanic Medical Association in Virginia next month. So really educating so that when we read about these statistics, or people read about the statistics, then they also know where they land within those statistics. And hearing it from somebody who comes from the community, I think offers some type of, I don't know what the word is, but just
relatable. It's relatable.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Really great question, Zion. I think to kind of echo what Dr. Sobel and Dr. Reed said, it's very, very important to take education into the community, because sometimes the community is not going to seek us out or our medical advice out, particularly psychiatry. And so partnering with more churches, partnering with more schools, so that people can feel less stigmatized with having mental illness and needing therapy or wanting help with their depression, or talking about other ways to treat depression outside of medication. Because I think when in the Black community specifically, people think about psychiatry, I'm not crazy. And it's kind of dispelling, no, it doesn't mean you're crazy. Everyone struggles. You're human. And as humans, we have feelings. And sometimes those feelings become too much, and we need help with those feelings. And, that's what I want to help more people of color access.
Yes. Great answers, everyone.
So I want to just have this last call, and then we've got to bring Dr. Ivy Hilton in about 6 minutes. So we're going to have this last call, and then we're going to do 30 seconds wrap up with everybody, because our show goes by so fast. So this is my sister, everybody, Drew Sidor from Atlanta Housewives. Say hello, Drew.
Hey, Drew.
Hi, Zion. Hey, Allie. Listen, I didn't want to take up a whole lot of time. I was just calling to let y'all know I love y'all. Zion, I'm so proud of you. You're doing amazing work, Allison. And I just calling to give support, send positive vibrations, send love, send blessings on everything you're doing, and just uplift Zion in her moment right now.
Yes.
A young leader. She is brilliant. She is funny. She is beautiful. She is creative. And she is just her own unique self. And I just love you so much, Snugga. Oh, sorry.
You said Snugga on national everywhere. But thank you, Drew Sidora. Now go on there and handle Kenya, honey. Handle Kenya. I love you. I'll call you later.
Oh, my God.
All right, guys. In 30 seconds, we're going to go around, starting with the Bitty Brain Gang, and give us a little wrap up in everybody, because I've got to get Dr. Ivy in the room. 30 seconds. Kingston, how was your experience? You want to say any last words here? Go.
Well, this was a fun experience because I've never been on the show with my mom. Dr. Gettings, she's been on this for quite a while. That's kind of a fun experience.
Yes.
Thank you, Kingston. Sinclair.
I just want to say that I'm grateful for being on the show and being with Dr. Gettings and all these.
You're muted.
And I just am so excited.
Thank you, Sinclair. Zion.
I just want to say that this show was a very fun experience. I love what you guys are doing, especially with these doctors, especially that you guys are women. Love seeing the women and women of color representation, especially what we are going on in media today. So I just want to thank you, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to be on the show. Love you, Auntie Allison.
And so let's start with you in that order, in the original order. 30 seconds to wrap it up. Starting with you, doctors.
So I just want to say that I feel blessed and honored to be present with you guys tonight. This has been a wonderful experience. I've had so much fun. You guys have fed my heart. You fed my soul. My heart is smiling right now. I just hope that we have inspired the Bitty Bang Gang, Brain Gang, and some other Bitty Brain Gangers to increase our warrior team. You know, we need more warriors on the front line. So I think that, you know, hopefully we've accomplished that tonight.
Yes.
I want to echo the sentiment. It's been just so much fun, excuse me, being here with all of you. Like Dr. Reed said earlier, energy is contagious. So the energy that we're like feeding off of each other is just going to continue to grow. I hope that inspires the kids. And speaking of inspiration, I just want to mention really, really quickly, I remember in medical school, your mother, Kinston and Sinclair, got a shout out by one of our main attending physicians. There was a classmate who was struggling with something on the general medicine floor, and your mom came in and helped that person out significantly, so much so that the doctor recognized her in front of the whole entire medical school class. And so she is one special person who continues to inspire.
You so much.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just quickly, it's been an honor to be here. I've really enjoyed myself. And I just want everyone to remember what God has for you is for you. Don't get distracted by someone else's path, because he has a path uniquely for you. And surround yourself with positivity, people that are going to uplift you and continue to push you forward.
Yes. Thank you. And Dr. Gettings, you want to wrap it up before we get Dr. Ivy Hilton in the room?
Yes, I just want to say this was so good, and I can't even express everything I'm thinking, but I'm just going to try to put together real quick. One thing I want to say is mentorship is so important, and we brought up tonight Dr. William McDade, who was one of my mentors in medical school and really helped me as a single mom going through medical school, and it was so much stress and hard work. And I just want to let everyone who's listening know that when you have a goal, it's really important, as the other doctors have said here tonight on the panel, to surround yourself with a village. And this is my village. This has been my village, and it expands beyond this, but this is a window of what is necessary to really keep yourself grounded as you pursue all endeavors, and as you continue to pour into yourself and pursue your dreams. So I'm beyond thrilled to be able to share a piece of my professional circle with everyone. I'm so thankful for you all accepting the invitation. I'm thankful for my kids staying up late and remaining interested. So thank you guys so much. You guys don't know how appreciative I am. Thank you again, Allison, for just really opening the door for all of this. Thank you.
Well, I'm just so excited. I think that the Bitty Brain Gang is such a good installation. We're going to be bringing them back. We're going to grow. So Zion, get ready, honey, co-host Sinclair. And I'm going to be calling on these doctors to be part of our brain gang. Okay. So I want to bring in Dr. Ivy Hilton. Why is it important to bring Dr. Ivy Hilton in here? Is because as a person living with mental illness, Dr. Ivy, come on in the room. I am a person that used holistic care. I was, I'm a practicing yogi now because of Dr. Ivy Hilton. We study under Dr. Sister Jenna as a Raj Yogi, and I am off medication. And I'm not saying for everybody to get off medication, but it was a reset for me, right? So that I can be open to what's possible. And so from nutrition, from meditation, from self-care, mindfulness, I was able to sort of navigate. And so Dr. Ivy Hilton was one of my mentors, one of my teachers, one of the foremost thought leaders in the country in sound vibronics. I want to bring her on to kind of bring it all home because these doctors get it. They get it.
So I am just so grateful for this opportunity to be in this circle. And I'm telling you that these sisters were very powerful. And the children, the itty bitty brain gang, I mean, they are really, 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 I mean, we may have to have them on many other times.
A whole bunch. I take a break.
I am so excited about this conversation and how you want me to really bring a different perspective to the pineal gland and our wellness and our health. And from a metaphysical and psychospiritual perspective, what I get from the endocrine system is that it is literally the holy body temple, and it has a spiritual soul personality. And it communicates with us in many ways, and each one of the endocrines, the pituitary, the thyroid, the pineal, the thymus, the pancreas, our reproductive organs, and particularly the adrenal gland. But tonight we're talking more about the pineal gland. And I thought about this at birth. When we are born into the world, one of the things that they protect the most is the crown. We even have a special little hood for the crown. But we never really understand, well, what is it that we're really protecting? And it's always really soft there. And right there is where that pineal gland is, the seat of our soul. It is the place where it communicates with each and every cell in our body, each and every muscle in our bodies. It has its own personality. It is what we call the spiritual anatomy of the soul, the endocrine system. That is what that represents. Yes. And we are a part of the triad of the universe, which I call the heaven, the earth, and us as the human body. So understanding that soul language of the pineal gland helps us to be able to maintain our wellness. Yes. A healthy pineal gland keeps us open to enlightenment. It keeps us open to joy and happiness. It keeps us open to inspiration and spiritual enlightenment. And when that is challenged, when we're experiencing more of a lack of inspiration or a consistent sadness or confusion or depression, we know that our pineal gland functional ability is at risk. And that's why I believe that we have to learn the soul language of the endocrine system so that when we have certain ailments in our bodies, we'll understand what the soul is trying to tell us. And I think that if we learn this, our doctors will be able to acknowledge and help us heal much better because we can communicate what our symptoms are.
Yes.
I'm thinking that we have to learn. I remember this whole concept about the pineal gland, and when you close your eyes, I think that might have been Dr. Sobel that said or it might have been Dr. Gettings, I'm not sure. But when we close our eyes, melatonin is evolved, and we need that melatonin in our bodies to support our entire wellness, and particularly our emotional wellness, our mental wellness. And it's really connected to sleep, our ability to sleep and sleep deeply in what we call the delta brainwave functioning. And I am so excited to talk about this because the chakras, if you've never heard of them before, the Sanskrit word that means spinning and cycling, that in each one of our chakras, and particularly the pineal gland, it is responding to our nerves, our major organs, and the areas of our energetic body that affects our emotional stability, that affects our emotional status, that affects our emotional personality. So a part of what I want to share with you as we are closing today is a brief little exercise that helps us to nurture the pineal gland and empower our emotional selves. When you close your eyes, what sees, your eye or your brain? And I
Mm.
believe my scientists in this circle can tell me that it's literally the brain that sees. So when we close our eyes, this is an opportunity for us to communicate with the soul. And we do that with our thoughts and our intentions. So we can literally manage and balance our endocrine system simply with a strong intention. An intention that absolutely has zero capacity for doubt. And this has to be practiced. And we practice it through various ways, primarily meditation. However, we also can do that by simply feeling the energy. If you close your hands like in a prayer and just rub them together, and like in one of these now I'm having this moment where we want to have an instrument that you can just open and close your hands, and you can close your eyes and just like an accordion move your hands very slowly back and forth until you feel that electromagnetic pull. And when you feel that pull, you can actually expand it. And this helps us understand that our entire body, our physiology is electromagnetic. And when we close our eyes and we connect with our soul, we can literally create a new reality with our thoughts. Because the brain does not know the difference between what you see and what you feel. So what we're going to do is learn how to change our thoughts so that we can relax and calm our brains so that we can find total wellness. So I
Wow.
believe that it's now time for us to prepare for the brain bliss. Let us welcome back our beloved Allison Jordan.
Thank you, Dr. Ivy. I always love when you come on at the end to sort of tie everything back to the soul and to the brain and the body, because that's what we're doing here at the Brain Truth. The Brain Gang, for you guys that don't know, represents the antidote for my own healing. So it's my combination of where I got my healing in real life people, right? And so before we go, we always close out the show in what we call the brain bliss. But before we do that, I just want to put up a slide so you guys can stay in touch with these incredible doctors. Follow them on everything, stalk them, do the dances with Noah, Dr. Reed, and all of them are so dope. So right here, Dr. Noah Reed, Dr. Ashley Crumby, and Dr. Sandra Sobo, we thank them so much for being here. This is where you find it. Always go back to thebraintruth.com if you want to get more information on how to get in touch. You guys come back because I want to get into a conversation with you guys. I want you guys to come back with just us. We just going to get down to the nitty gritty and talk about this whole medical and mind and body and just get into it. Can y'all come back so I can talk? Because I like to talk.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So thank you again. I want to thank our guests. I want to thank the Itty Bitty Brain Gang. I want to thank you, Dr. Gettings, as usual. Next week, we are not going to be doing a show because I was told I need my own self-care. So in honor of Valentine's Day, we're going to do self-love with the Sound Spa with Dr. Ivy Hilton. And it's going to be right here, the same time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard. And we're going to have live streaming of one of her broadcasts. And you're going to see that incredible opportunity to regenerate your cells and get your pineal gland and the melatonin and all that good stuff. So see you guys next week on The Brain Truth. So I want you guys to prepare for the brain bliss. I'm always humbled to show up for what's possible. So let's prepare ourselves for a clearing of the brain, the body, and the soul. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am a peaceful soul. I am a pure soul. I am capable. I desire to heal. And the power is right here within me. I am open to being authentic. I am open to letting go. Letting go of ego, anger, and attachment. I am open to forgiveness. I am okay. I desire mental, physical, and emotional awareness. I desire clarity, calm, and pure mindfulness. I am okay. I receive love and give love freely. I am open to a deeper connection to Source. I am love. I am love. Thank you, Brangels. Thank you, Brain Gang. Thank you, Itty Bitty Brain Gang. And thank you, guests. I love you and see you guys next week. Om Shanti.
Vibrations of love. And some say love is a verb. But much deeper than that, love is a vibration. It is that energy that stirs the soul and opens up the heart. Vibrations of love call out to the divine that connects us with the beauty of life and the oneness of it all. I need not to say it with words, although it is always nice to hear. But greater still is to feel it. Vibrations of love lift me higher, and I fill the empty spaces within the soul. It is the divine in its purest essence.